Minions: The Rise of Gru, the sequel to the $1 billion 2015 hit Minions. You either love them or hate them, but one thing you can't deny is that they're guaranteed box office gold. In this latest installment in the Despicable Me franchise, the story follows the Minions working for an 11-year-old Gru in 1976. The first Minions were set in the 60s and they utilised all the stereotypes of the fashion, culture and music with vibrant results. They've done the same type of rendition in terms of creating a 70s disco-like atmosphere. The villains feel funky and cheesy, and the music used throughout the film creates an exciting and groovy adventure. Now at this point in the franchise, you could really be bored and tired of the Minions gimmick. They talk gibberish, they're clumsy, they're chaotic and extremely loud. For me, the first Despicable Me film remains the best out of the bunch. It provided an abundance of laughs while also having many heartwarming and emotional moments regarding Gru and the girls he adopts. Every movie that has come out since has slowly projected down into a barrel of hollow and less innovative gags. But as the story declined in quality, the commercial revenue remained a success. You can't get away from the franchise, even if you haven't seen it. You go into your local supermarket, I guarantee you there's some merchandise with a Minion on the cover. They are inevitable. So I wasn't really expecting much from the Minions sequel. Going into this, my expectations for the film was low. My prediction was that it would be a below average story, with some chuckles here and there, but to the studio, none of that matters apart from how much money it will make. And that's all they need. I wasn't too irritated by the Minions in this movie. I never really have, to be honest. I actually find them quite funny and charming, but sometimes I feel the writers squander their potential, like in the first Minions movie and once again here. There were a few highlights that I enjoyed with the Minions. The main cast of the Minions are the same from the first. Bob, Stuart and Kevin are the central characters. They work well from the comedic perspective, but still lack in development. And you'd think that would be easier since they can build on this through their relationship with Gru. Unfortunately, the jokes felt incredibly derivative of other comedy movies. It's okay to play homage to other famous comedies, but if you constantly do this without balancing it with original jokes, then it just comes off as lazy. There's one joke that's a clear homage to Airplane, and it doesn't really work because it was just a carbon copy. The way the Minions speak and behave can be tiresome for many, but again, I don't feel that way. This is what makes them entertaining. The villains the Minions and Gru must face are the Vicious Six. Like all villains in the franchise, these have neat play on names with distinct and ridiculous styles, but even so, Vector is still the villain that remains the best of the rest. So the Vicious Six capture the Zodiac Stone, a stone with supernatural powers that can take over the world and blah blah blah. There is an audition for a 7th member of the group, which Gru badly wants to be a part of, but he feels the Minions are holding him back. This is the conflict. This is it. Now, an audition to be a villain is a very absurd but comical idea, which was similar to the superhero audition in Mystery Men. It was wasted potential, and that's the thing that bothered me most about this movie. There were so many times where the comedy could have hit perfectly, but they decided to channel this through the most childish route possible. Shouting really loud isn't comedy. There was a sequence in which the Minions had to train under a kung fu master in order to beat the bad guy after conveniently running into her in no other than Chinatown. You could name every martial arts spoof from the past that was crammed into this scene. None of it was original or creative. Just like the first Minions, a lot of the movie just seemed lacking with a concrete narrative. It just gets to the third act like a truck trying to drive out of a mud hole. Again, there are a few moments where the movie is funny, but it's not enough, because of a lot of it was the same shtick. If you try to remember the best moments from the Minions, The Rise of Gru, it's all a blur. Just a lot of gibberish with no purpose. The movie is a perfect example on how to write a story purely based on vibes. In fact, there's no story, just vibes. They tried to create some emotional relationship between Gru and an aging villain named Wild Knuckles, and honestly, I think this should have been the main storyline and the Minions arc be the subplot. The movie nods to various characters from the franchise like they're Easter eggs in a Marvel film, but yeah, The Rise of Gru is just another average animated comedy film. There's moments that I enjoyed, I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't enough to say that I would watch it again.